Welcome, my friends. A few times throughout my trig videos, I have alluded to using a calculator to approximate values of trig functions. I figured I would make a short video explaining this in a little bit more detail. If possible, you basically always want to express a trig function answer as an exact answer. For example, you should express the sine of pi over 3 as the square root of 3 over 2, and not the decimal approximation of about 0.866. There are a number of angles, though, that we don't have nice values for the trig functions memorized for, and sometimes it's appropriate to approximate the value of a trig function using a calculator. The number one thing to keep in mind is that any calculator that allows you to evaluate trig functions will always have a setting somewhere to switch between degrees and radians. If you have the wrong setting, you will get the wrong answer. If you type in sine of pi over 2 onto your calculator, and your calculator is set to degrees, you are not going to get the correct answer. On a TI-84 calculator, the way that you toggle the setting is by pressing the mode button, and then scrolling down to the radian/degree option and pressing enter over the appropriate setting. Then when you press second and quit, your calculator will be on the correct setting. If you are one of my students and are using ALEX, there is a button to toggle between degrees and radians on the ALEX calculator, and the setting you are on will even show up right onto the screen. Pressing the button switches from one setting to the other. Most calculators do not have the reciprocal trig functions of secant, cosecant, and cotangent built in, so you will need to just find the corresponding primary trig function and then just take the reciprocal. For example, let's say that you wanted to find the cosecant of 50 degrees, which is not a commonly known angle. Since sine and cosecant are reciprocals, let's start with finding sine of 50 degrees. First, make sure that your calculator is in the right setting of degrees, and then press sine, and then 50, and then press equals. This tells us that the sine of 50 degrees is about 0.766. Depending on your calculator, there are different ways to recall this value. On the ALEX calculator, which is what I'm using here, you should press the store button, and then press 1, divided by, and then press the recall button. You will have 1 over, and then it has recalled your previous answer. Press equals, and you will have the value of cosecant of 50 degrees, which is about 1.31. We use the wavy equal to sign to indicate that this is not the exact answer and that the real answer goes out many more decimal places. 1.31 is just an approximation. You could also type 1 over sine of 50 from the beginning to get the same answer, but it's useful to know how to use the store and recall buttons. On a TI-84, if you type sine of 50 and then press enter, then you may realize that you are actually not in degrees, because your calculator gave you a different answer than maybe you were expecting. If you go to mode and change to degrees, you can try again. Sine of 50. Now you can type 1 divided by, and then press the second key, and then the answer key, and you will bring up your previous answer. Press enter, and you will get the same answer as we got using the ALEX calculator. Alright, my friends, that wraps up this short video relating to approximating trig functions using a calculator.